Hello. This week we are going to be looking at 3 common mistakes you make when you are listening in conversation that have a huge impact on your communication. The first horrible mistake is pretending to understand when you don't understand anything. I'm sure this has happened to you many times when you've been speaking English. I know it happened to me a lot when I was learning Spanish. And this is horrible, firstly, because it's often obvious that you don't understand. You're like, yes, 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 yes. And you've got no idea what's going on. And the other person might ask you a question and you answer that question with, yes. And then they have to repeat the question and you have to admit that you haven't been following at all. So it's obvious. And it's a missed opportunity to connect with the other person. Because if they see from the beginning that you are essentially lying, you're pretending to understand when you're not understanding, you're not being honest, you're not being authentic, then you're not going to have a great conversation. You're not going to connect. And it's a missed opportunity to start building a professional relationship or otherwise with the other person. And we don't just do this when we're speaking a second language. Sometimes we pretend to know things, to understand things that we don't in ordinary conversations. And there's just no point. Because people like to be asked as well. You know, the point of communication is that you understand each other. So lying, pretending, trying to show off some sort of image doesn't really have any place in the conversation. Then what do we do when it's a second language? Well, first of all, if the other person is speaking too quickly, just ask them to slow down. Sorry, would you mind speaking more slowly, please? Because I really want to understand everything that you're saying. If they've explained something and we haven't understood and we need to ask them again, then just say, sorry, would you mind explaining that in another way because I'm not quite getting it? And if there's certain words that you don't understand, you've never heard of them before, you think you should have heard of them before, but you haven't, well, you ask. Sorry, what does that word mean? Can you explain that word to me? And if you're really lost, what I often recommend people to do is to record the conversation. If you're having a video conference, you can record the conversation and listen back to it when you get home. And you can get used to the other person's accent, the way they speak. You can see at which point in the conversation did you go wrong, at which point was your mind wandering, because it probably was. And you'll be more present with the other person next time. Because the only way to really have connection in conversation is if you are present. If you're worrying about, oh my God, and you're trying to show and you're trying to, then there's not going to be that connection that needs to take place. Remember, words are only 7% important in communication. So for understanding, pretending that you know what's going on when you don't, really has no place at all. Tomorrow we'll be back with the next horrible mistake that we make when we're listening in conversation. Have a wonderful day. And I encourage you today to really be very honest in your conversations with other people. And if you don't understand something, to just ask. Have a great day. See you later. Bye-bye.